Welcome back to The Gardener. Today, we have a very special guest. We have our houseplant connoisseur, Dee Hof. She is our assistant greenhouse manager. She's one of our growers. She works in the growing houses, knows a ton about plants, but especially houseplants. We've gotten a lot of requests for a houseplant episode to talk about, some beginner tips, some advice. So we're just going to dive into all things houseplants today. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment them and then we can do a follow-up or answer your questions. So I guess let's start with just introduce yourself, how you got started with Culver's, what got you interested in plants in the first place, just kind of a brief overview.
Sure. So, yes, my name is Dee Hof, and I'm the assistant greenhouse manager, like Katie said. I've been with Culver's for 5 years now. Getting into houseplants was kind of out of left field. Basically, we bought our first house, me and my husband, and I've always kind of been into decorating. We had all this extra space on hand, and I just didn't know what to do with a certain room. I was definitely influenced by some Instagram posts and watched a lot of YouTube videos. And, houseplants started to become like a big trend out of nowhere. And I was just really loving it. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at this house just full of plants. That is exactly what I want.
Wait, I want my everyday to look like that.
Yes. It was kind of called like a jungalow vibe. So bungalow just turned into a jungle.
That's awesome.
And I was like, what better way to fill up the space than houseplants? So I just kind of slowly started to dip my toe in, get some of those kind of beginner ones. And it kind of grew from there. And I just, I went through different jobs in life and finally decided, I really want to do something that I love. And that is how I ended up at Culver's. And it's been amazing.
Awesome. So, okay. I know I was going to ask you this later, but let's just tell the people, rip off the Band-Aid. How many houseplants do you have?
So I have at least 200 houseplants.
When we moved into our house, we had like 14. I took them from college and everything. And we just have like no sunlight.
And
they
she
were
killed 12 of them.
Yeah, they were just really struggling. So we have 2 houseplants now. Then Dee was telling me one day that she's over 200. And I'm like, okay. Yep, yeah, I do know.
It got a little out of hand for sure, Yeah. I mean, that's been a buildup, of course, over years. I really started to collect it was probably about 2016. So yeah, a good 10 years of this collection just and they've extended out of this room that I originally wanted. And it's just kind of all over the house now, but I love it. And just kind of curating as I go. And yeah, I love it.
So you talked about getting started with houseplants and how you were just trying to fill the space. Do you remember what some of your first houseplants were, like the first ones you were successful with?
Yes. So I think one of my first ones was a croton, which is kind of funny because I'm not the biggest fan of them now. But I think I started with probably a spider plant, I think I probably started with an orchid too, which is also kind of one that I'm not great at. So that didn't last very long. I still have the croton, and actually I had a ponytail palm too. That was one of my first ones, and it's still kicking too. So
the ponytail palms, those can last forever.
Tried and true, yeah.
Well, we had one, and then Marlo ate it.
Yeah, Marlo was a little puppy.
We should get another one.
I know, because he wouldn't mess with it now. He doesn't mess with it.
Yeah, it's something about those kind of grassy leaves that the dogs and cats tend to go after. Or it's just Marlo.
I'm dying at him, side-eyeing us. He's like, you're talking about
it. It was delicious too.
So what's the plant that you're kind of most proud of growing?
Well, let's see. I do have a Thai constellation monstera going, because
I don't even know what that is.
It's a very popular in the last couple of years. It's a monstera, but it has this amazing variegation throughout the leaf. So it's really speckled white, and yeah, it's really pretty. So that's kind of been a process and a little struggle, but it's still kicking. Otherwise, maybe some type of what are they called? Bulb plants.
Pineapple plant.
Oh, did you get one of those?
Oh, I did not get a pineapple.
My grandma has it.
Yeah.
It still
has it?
I don't know. I haven't been back.
I
think she did, and I think she tried, because didn't she say you have to replant it or something?
Yeah. So once you harvest that pineapple, you can take off the top leafy part of the pineapple and then replant that. And eventually it should become another pineapple, but
I don't know if she did
years.
that. She said it's still alive. I haven't been out there to look, so But
Do we still have some in the greenhouse?
No, we sold out. It was pretty
Okay.
popular.
it's cool.
They're
Even if
really
it was just
cool.
the one pineapple, they were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet it tasted great. Anyway, so probably some type of alocasia, which they can be very finicky. So that's kind of a, like little pat on the back when I can get those to work out.
Yeah. What's the common name for that? Or is that the
That
common
is the species. Yeah, there's all types of variations, of alocasias, but they're basically a little bulb plant, and they throw out these huge, just like a long stem with like a huge kind of like usually shield-shaped leaf.
name? Oh,
Very,
cool.
very tropical looking. Really
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a new person's starting out with houseplants, what would be the number one houseplant you'd recommend for them?
Well, I would probably assess, what kind of maybe light that they have to work with first. And also if they're going to be kind of more of like a helicopter parent, if they tend to really be heavy on the watering. I would just kind of assess those first things first. And if, they kind of just want to ignore the plant and set it on their windshield or
Their windshield.
Oh my God.
Don't put them in the cars, guys. That won't work.
Oh gosh. Oh, their windowsill. I'd probably recommend a succulent because if you just want to forget it, they'll sit there for a few weeks, maybe even a month, and you're good to go. Same with like a cactus or something like that. That's usually easier ones.
And we need to talk about watering with those.
Oh yeah.
Because
for
people
sure.
majorly overwater those.
Yep, that's usually the biggest killer of those houseplants is the overwatering. So I always kind of try to recommend, don't water frequently. Cut back on your frequency, but when you do water a lot. So you really want to saturate that whole root ball, but just less often. So like depending on the size of the plant, maybe like once a month, once or twice a month, again, depending on light. But
because they are desert plants, and I think people forget that.
Mhm.
Like they're so used to being dry, and that's what they're naturally.
Yeah, and I think some people think like, oh, I don't have to water it at all.
Right, and that's also an issue.
Yeah. No, they still need some water, but they do just hold a lot of moisture in their leaves, so you don't have to quite as often. But
So going off the watering, pots. A lot of people have questions about pots.
Mhm.
Is it better to have a hole in it? Is it better? How does that drainage work in one of those pots
yeah.
compared to something that doesn't have a hole in the bottom?
Sure. So, biggest thing, it is important to have drainage for sure with most plants. It's not like a death sentence if it doesn't have a drainage hole in the pot, but you, again, just have to be really careful with your watering because that water is not going anywhere. It's just going to be sitting in that pot and the plants might drown. So you'd really have to just kind of hold off again on watering a lot. As far as type of pot, terracotta is very wicking of the water out of the soil. So that would be great for something like those succulents and cacti. So it's kind of a little reassurance that you might not overwater it because it'll kind of suck up that moisture. A lot of people put more tropical plants into plastic so they can get away with not having to water as often because, again, that water's just sitting in there longer. So maybe if you're, again, someone that is kind of forgetful on watering, maybe think about putting them in a plastic pot or a pot without drainage so you can get away with not watering quite as often.
So and then without the drainage, we put usually rock on the bottom to kind of act as a drainage system. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I am not the biggest fan of that.
Okay.
One, because, the water's still sitting in there. It's
Right.
not going anywhere. And that is still just going to sit in this rock. And eventually it's going to reach that soil anyway. And two, that just makes the pot heavier. Especially if you have like a really big pot
Mm-hmm.
and you end up putting all that rock in there. That's going to be quite the pain to move or, dump out later. And it's really not doing much. As far as like houseplants and stuff, I don't think it's really necessary. But maybe like for your annuals that you're probably going to get rid of at the end of the year, that's totally fine.
So if you were doing like an inside houseplant with no drainage holes, you would just do straight dirt and then like just be really careful watering and not overwater?
Yes, I would. Or you could always use them as, they call them a cover pot or cash pot, just kind of depends on the person, and they're just more decorative. So you would leave that houseplant in the nursery plastic pot or whatever it comes in, and then you could just put it into that cover pot.
For like staging.
Yeah, exactly. Just make it look a little pretty. And then you can take that out and go water it elsewhere, and you're good with the drainage, and then you can bring it back put it in that cover pot, and you wouldn't even have to worry about it. A lot of people do that, and I do that with a lot of mine as well.
While we're on the subject of watering, do you want to touch on watering a little bit, like overwatering versus underwatering, how you can kind of tell maybe what some signs are if you are overwatering or underwatering?
Yeah, definitely. My biggest advice on that is to get a feel for when you know that plant is watered. So let's say you get it home and you water it, it's nice and heavy. Just give it a feel physically of how heavy the pot is. Because I like to go by feel a lot of the times, and even feeling the leaf itself. Say like a succulent, usually they kind of get wrinkly. They just kind of maybe like will sag just a little bit. So visually and just feeling it can really help. The biggest thing too is you'll see signs of yellowing. Like I said, the biggest killer is overwatering. So you're most likely going to be seeing the yellow leaves. Otherwise, you might see some browning. And that's usually a sign of either letting the plant dry out too long in between and it gets kind of crispier on the edge of the leaf, or even like a humidity issue. So sometimes that can cause that crispiness as well.
So I used to think that yellow leaves meant overwatering, brown leaves meant underwatering. Is that true, or is there like, because then I heard somebody else say one time that yellow leaves could also be from underwatering.
Yeah, it's, not like a steadfast kind of rule there. Usually it's kind of that. You can usually kind of just guess that's probably what it is an overwatering with the yellow situation. I mean, it could be, I have a pothos at home that I'm usually pretty good about watering, but I did like miss out on like a week or two in between. So I watered it well, I put it back up, and then like in the next week, I was starting to get yellowing leaves. And it was just kind of randomly throughout the plant. It wasn't like the older leaves, it wasn't the newer leaves, just like patchiness along these vines. And I knew it was like, because I let it go too long.
Oh, okay.
So it could have been just.
So it's just like stressed?
Yeah.
Just trying to get back into the routine?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yep, for sure. You just kind of messed with its schedule. It acted out.
Yeah.
So I know with a lot of nursery products, you want to fertilize. How does that kind of translate to houseplants? Do you fertilize in the same time of year, like in the spring, or not at all? Or does it kind of depend on the houseplant?
Yeah. So, I definitely recommend fertilizing. You can get away without fertilizing if you want to, but if you want to see the best plant possible, which most of us do, you should probably fertilize. And of course, the best time would be, more in the spring. You can really start kind of bumping up any type of product you want to use. If it's like well balanced, it'd be just fine. Just kind of read the directions on the product. But, come spring, we start getting more light. It's getting warmer outside. Those plants are going to start waking up. They're going to need a little food to get going and actually, take off. And that also goes along with repotting. So that's the best time to do that as well, is in the spring. And it's easy to get some fertilizer kind of regime going then. I personally at home, I do fertilize throughout the whole year, but it's very lightly. So it's just, just to kind of get them like throughout the year. But biggest is just if you want to just do a little bit in the spring through summer, maybe just kind of taper off in fall.
Aren't there certain things that like you're not supposed to fertilize in the winter, like Christmas cactus or anything to like watch out for?
Yeah, probably those plants that are more focused on blooming.
Okay. Because they need like a dormant period.
Yeah. You'll probably want to just hold off on that. And yeah. Otherwise, most of them, they can take those kind of well-balanced fertilizers. And there's, organic options out there and liquid versions. And I use one that's kind of like a mixture of all types of organic, like guano and kind of just worm castings and a bunch of weird stuff like in a liquid form that I just add just a bit to my water jug. And then I go around and just kind of do them all. But yeah, some can be a little more sensitive.
While we're on the fertilizing subject, quick, can you talk about those super strength dropper things?
Yeah, I think that's just more like a very high strength. I think it's a concentrate. And so again, make sure you're reading that bottle because you don't want to overdo it and have a fertilizer burn. Those are more like specialty products. There are some that are focused on for propagating as well. So if you want to really expand your collection and you can take cuttings from all your plants, Yeah, we have a product that helps just promote that root growth, and yeah, you can double your collection just like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we have like a cactus one, a leaf shine one, an all-purpose. Yeah, so those are cool. Those are more for like not just like the beginner house.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are a little more like,
for
you
sure.
know what you're doing a little more.
Yeah.
We get a lot of beginner houseplant people in, or like they have an office or they don't have a lot of light or space for it. And they just want to start getting into the houseplant game, start livening up the place a little bit, but they're all looking for low maintenance houseplants. What would you say like 3 to 5 low maintenance houseplants are?
Sure.
And why is it the Raven's easy plant?
Yeah, actually, that one is pretty easy. Again, they kind of hold that water in their stems and in their little bulbs. So that would be a great one. Definitely ZZ plants. And of course, there's the different colored ones. Let's see. So a spider plant, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. They're super easy going and they don't need that really bright light. Let's see. You could also probably get away with some snake plants. They can kind of take that whole range of light. So if you do have that bright window, they'll be just fine. But, of course, if you got the lower light situation, it'll be okay too. It might not thrive, but it'll live and it'll be fine.
Snake plant at home.
That's because you put it in the corner in the doorway where there's no light. There's no windows.
They still need a little light.
It was just over there for Christmas when the Christmas tree was in the way. But
so Christmas has been
I know
for the last 3 years.
I need to move it back. But yeah, it's doing great. I've had it for like 8 years.
I still think
good.
Thank you.
Back to the ponytail palm. I think we need to go get a new one today.
Okay. Maybe we'll get a ponytail palm after this. You're inspiring us to get more houseplants. And now I'm over here thinking like, wow, I need a spider plant too. We only have a pothos and a snake plant right now. Those are the two.
Hey, those are 2 good ones.
Did you kill the ZZ plant?
Let's not talk
Katie.
about it right now. What?
I had that
I didn't kill it.
I had that through all college and I made it live. And then we get into our house and you kill it.
Okay, that's sad. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, well, I was going to say African violet, but that might be kind of small for the office. If we want something a little more with an impact, you could probably get away with like a Dracaena marginata. So that'll give you some nice height too. You could have it as a floor plant. Those are kind of the
what's something that people hang? Like you can hang
that
out
could
in
be
an
low
office.
maintenance.
Oh, yeah, pothos, of course. Pothos, philodendrons, the trailing philodendrons. But pothos for sure. That's actually one of my favorite plants, which is kind of funny because it's so basic. But there's like so many of them, and they're all just so easygoing.
And they're so pretty.
Yeah.
They just look stunning.
And they really give you that jungle feel.
Yes.
And you can kind of trail their vines all over the place or, like put it on a bookshelf and it'll just kind of cover up the corner. And yeah, they're really cool and super easygoing. And one of my favorite things about them is they kind of show you when they need water. Again, visually, is they'll kind of wilt ever so slightly and kind of curl up their leaves a little bit. Water them again, they'll perk right up in like an hour or two, and that's always really fun to see.
So, like, speaking of dramatic plants, what are some of the most dramatic plants?
Oh, man.
That are like, when they need water, they will act like they're dead, and then you water them and they're fine.
Oh, man. So, Fittonia, which is that, it's like kind of speckled looking. They're so dramatic. They'll just completely droop down and they're like hanging over the side of the plant and like look all crusty and stuff. And just as soon as you water them, they just perk right back up. That's like Fittonia.
Fittonia?
Yeah.
Is there another name for that?
Well, I've always called it a polka dot plant as well.
Well, because I was thinking of like a peace lily.
Oh, yeah.
Those are so dramatic.
Yeah, they do that for sure. Yeah, that's another easygoing one as well. They can take the lower light. Yeah, that's a good call on that one. And there's a couple different varieties. Mine at home is called Domino, and I just love that one. It's kind of got a more like textured leaf to it, and it's got some white variegation. We have those in the store right now, but yeah, that's a really good one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another office one. What's the huge ones in the back left corner of the greenhouse right now? They're huge.
In the cactus section?
No, you walk in D. They're huge.
Oh, the fiddly figs?
Yeah,
That thing right there, that fake thing
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, but they're 6 feet tall, and so that'd be a great office
Oh my
plant.
gosh, those are so cool.
Someone should get that and put
So
it in
what's
their
the light
office.
situation for those?
Those need some pretty bright light.
Do you need like a big window?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, glass walls,
Yeah.
window, big glass window.
I mean, you could even throw it outside during the nice warm weather, and it will just thrive.
Those things are huge.
Yeah, and they've actually been cut back, I want to say twice now.
Well, so what's a plant people think is really easy to take care of, but in reality, they get it home and they're like, why did I get this?
Yeah. There's, I mean, a lot of them. But one that comes to mind is a string of pearls.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, really popular and for good reason. I mean, they're super cute. But they are kind of finicky. The biggest thing is overwatering those for sure. They have a very shallow root system. So I think people tend to overwater those pretty easily. Kind of the same thing. People might think succulents are super easy, but if you're one of those overwaterers, I mean, it really just takes one time and it's done for.
Dang.
Yeah. Okay,
Good luck.
Well, I guess
Be careful.
going into something else, what's a plant that's totally worth the challenge? Would you say
that might be a little trickier?
Well, you're saying
But, like,
that
it's worth it?
They're beautiful, but they're a little harder to take care of. So would you say that's one that's worth it to get?
The string of pearls?
Mhm.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like I said, they're like really cute and they can get really full, but most of the time, those little pearls shrivel up and you have a really bald looking top of the pot and you might just have like a couple pearls all over the place. But, there's other string of options out there. Maybe try those first and kind of see how it goes. String of hearts, string of dolphins.
So string of pearls is like the hardest of the string of
I would
plants?
say. Mm-hmm,
Oh,
for sure.
okay.
Mm-hmm. And
Isn't
then
there a string of bananas?
there is string of bananas. Yep. There's string of hooks. There's string of arrows. There's a lot of them out there.
That's so crazy how they're like, how they look like that.
Yeah. They're mostly like a ground cover in parts of the world.
Oh,
so
okay.
instead of hanging from a pot, they'd be kind of more crawling around on the ground.
But for our zone, it has to be a houseplant.
Yeah, unfortunately. Not gonna
So,
have pearls outside.
well, speaking of zones and taking plants inside and outside, because I know you can put houseplants outside in the summer, but then when you bring them in, you got to treat them. And then also, even if you don't take them in and out, a lot of people struggle with fungus gnats.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for taking care of those and then like kind of treating your plants going from outside to inside?
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend getting them outside because they are just going to love that extra warmth and sun. I wouldn't just go tossing them straight into that direct sun. You got to be careful with that. So definitely acclimate first. But towards the end of the year, once you get them back inside, I would recommend at least showering them down. So keeping them outside or, putting them in your bathtub, whatever you want to do, and just like give them a nice, strong, blast of water to knock off maybe anything that could be hiding, get underneath those leaves, try and get everywhere you can to knock off anything. And then you could, if you want to, after that, just to be on the safe side, is to treat it with something. So you could either use like a type of systemic, or you could use something actually topical on the leaf, like a spray. But just kind of visually inspecting it, maybe keeping it a little isolated from any other plants inside in case you do have other ones. And then as far as fungus gnats, the biggest thing with that is, again, overwatering, is because they lay their eggs in the top inch or so of the soil, and they like it nice and warm and wet. So if this plant is just sitting there wet all the time, you just keep that soil constantly watered, they're just going to thrive. So their life cycle is about 2 weeks, so it's just going to keep happening. They're going to grow, they're going to pop out, come back to that wet soil, lay eggs, keep going and going and going. So biggest thing is to just kind of watch your watering, let it dry out just a little bit further down without detrimental to the plant. But we also have like little sticky traps, which you can just easily stick anywhere in the house. And I mean, they just flock to those things. So those are pretty helpful too.
And then that's when you would put like the systemic powder in the soil, right, to prevent those?
Yeah, so there's mosquito bits, it's called.
Oh, yeah.
That's something you can either like just mix it into the top inch or so of the soil, or I think sometimes you can make kind of like a tea with it and then water with that mixture. But that helps kill them off too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do some rapid fire questions now. So I'm just going to ask you like a few questions that
You got to really do it rapid fire, though.
Okay, now I'm
Boom, boom,
pressure's
boom, boom,
on.
boom.
Just don't think too hard and just answer them the best you can.
Answer in 1 second.
All right. Favorite houseplant?
Too long.
Hoyas.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Most overrated houseplant?
I mean, again, probably alocasias, because people are so like amazed by them, but they are so tricky, and you have to restart them and restart them. So I think most alocasias, and they're also sensitive to water.
A plant that everyone should own?
Pothos.
Okay. A plant you refuse to grow? Doesn't sound like much because you have over 200.
Yeah. Oh.
Or so I guess something that you've had trouble with, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, I don't do too many succulents, which is kind of funny.
Well, because it's too easy for you.
Yeah, maybe.
You're already past that stage.
But I'm not going to say don't try
well,
succulents.
yeah, that's a really good beginner one, too.
Yeah.
So, well, this is kind of one we just answered, but if someone could buy one houseplant, they walk in our greenhouse today, what would you recommend?
We have the orchids look amazing right now.
Yeah.
If you really want that color and oh man, they're so pretty. There's also a vanilla orchid, which is really cool. Those are looking really great too. But otherwise, maybe the Hoyas, because I'm just so biased at Hoyas.
Yeah. So then, okay, another question I just thought of. What would you describe as the feeling when you walk into our houseplant greenhouse? Because we have a whole greenhouse that we call the tropical greenhouse, because we put tropicals in there and stuff in the spring too, but all year round it's houseplants.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody walks through that door, what's the feeling you would describe?
Man. It is amazing. That's definitely my favorite location on the whole property. Just so tranquil and warm and inviting and jungle vibes for sure. Oh, it's magical for sure.
Those are good words.
And very relaxing.
Those are
too.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, relaxing. I know I always tell people, like, I'm like, even if you're not in the market for a houseplant, it doesn't matter. Just come out and walk through the greenhouse. I feel like it's so therapeutic. Like if you need a break from work,
take your mind
or
off
just,
things
you got some family stuff going on, whatever, just come in and
be
just
immersed in it. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So we do a segment called Getting to the Root of It, where we have our listeners submit questions. And so we told people, that you were going to be on this with talking about houseplants and everything. So we have some questions for you.
Cool.
Do you want to start with some?
Sure. We can go Marty from Swisher. My wife wants more plants in the house, but she travels a lot for work. What are some easy ones you would recommend that I could actually keep alive while she's away?
Okay. So yeah, I would go back to your succulents and your cacti. Because, like I said, you're not going to want to have to water them very often if you're going to be away. So they can make it longer without any attention. Or you could even try that trick I said of keeping them in the plastic pot, or keeping them in the pot that doesn't have the drainage hole, giving them a nice thorough watering before you leave. And usually you can, make it last for a couple weeks for sure.
Do you recommend those self-watering?
It depends on the plant. A lot of plants do thrive in always having that moisture at hand, kind of the alocasias. Some anthuriums do that. So again, it just kind of depends on your lifestyle and the type of plant for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because we sell like those cute little watering buddies or whatever, and they're so fun, but I know that it's kind of specific to different plants.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But no, it's a good tool to definitely try out if you're not going to be around very often. So yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So Anne from Marion says, I don't have enough window space for direct sunlight. Do my plants really need direct sun, or is it okay if they're in the middle of the room with bright light?
So yeah, most plants don't need that direct sun. Some will do okay if they're acclimated to it, but bright indirect, almost across the board, is great for most houseplants. Again, it just depends. But the majority of them will thrive with that indirect, nice bright light. I will mention too, if you don't have that really bright light further into your house, just try some grow lights. I mean, there's all types of options out there. Really easy to set up, really easy to maybe just throw a new bulb into a fixture you already have. I mean, I have all types of grow lights in my house. So that's an option to think about too.
Yeah, we have those bulbs Aren't they like a blue and red light or something?
Yeah. Yep. So that's a very common, it has to do with like wavelengths and
Okay.
wattage and all that kind of. So I'm not really like too knowledgeable on that kind of more technical stuff about
Yeah.
them. But something about that blue and red wavelengths like affect different aspects of the plant.
Okay.
So I kind of started out with some of those like purpley colored lights, and then it kind of affects your eyes, and it just
yeah.
it
It's a
doesn't
little
look very
trippy.
aesthetically
Yeah.
pleasing.
You mean you don't want to walk into a rave when you get home?
Yeah, and it looks kind of funny from outside too. Like
Oh,
neighbors
yeah.
might be like,
Like,
"What's going on in
what are
there?"
you doing?
Yeah.
So I kind of transitioned to the white light, and
Gotcha.
they still do the job.
Because I think we have both options in the garden center and some grow lights, like actual like clamps.
Yeah, those are great too. Yeah, make it easy.
So Mark from Marion, should I repot my houseplants right after buying them?
Depending on the root ball, you can take a look. You can just kind of gently pop it out of that pot. And, maybe if it's like completely root bound, all you see is just roots, like entangling that whole root ball, then it might be a good idea to just right away get them into the next size up. Rule of thumb, next size up. But usually I would probably say just to let them acclimate to your house first. So get it home, get it in not direct sun again. You want to get in that lower indirect bright light and, give it maybe like a week or two to get used to its new environment. It's most likely coming from, perfect conditions in a nursery or wherever you may be getting them. And you're kind of shocking it a little bit going into this drier household, less light, less watering. So maybe just give it a couple weeks, but then take a look at the root ball for sure.
Okay. So Carol from Cedar Rapids wrote in and said, some people have told me that all of my plants need to be in terracotta pots, but I like the look of some of the plastic and ceramic ones. Does the type of pot really matter? I guess we kind of touched on this earlier.
Yeah,
but...
we did. It's not detrimental again. You can get away with using any type of pot you want. It's not the end of the world. But some do thrive a little better with the terracotta just because it wicks away that moisture, extra moisture you might have in there. But yeah, it's not the end of the world.
So Amy from Cedar Rapids, I want more houseplants, but I have 3 cats. What plants are safe for cats?
Yeah, so there are some options out there for you. First one right away I think of is the spider plant. But they probably will try to nibble on it because it does kind of have that kind of grassy, leafy look to it. I know my cat at home would bite on that. Same with the ponytail palm, kind of that grassiness. Biggest thing I would say is just Google it, first of all. Just to be sure, because, I don't know off the top of my head every single plant if it's toxic or not. Just to be on the safe side, take a look at a list. There's all types of information out there for you. But also when you get them home, maybe try and put them on a higher surface. I know cats will jump all over the place, but if you put it on a higher surface and maybe fill up that space around it so they don't have that option of jumping up around the plant, they're not going to mess with it. Or if you're able to hang it or something like that. So just maybe kind of think of that, or just kind of be on top of, scolding them.
Yeah.
Yep. Kind
of train them not
consistently, letting them know like, hey, don't mess with it. My
Get
cat
rid
at
of 'em.
home doesn't even like notice any of them.
Just get rid of the cats.
to. No.
Hey.
Dee will take them.
Dee's like, yeah, get rid of the cats. Give them to
all
me.
the cats. Aw.
That kind of wraps up the getting to the root of it questions. We just picked some of the most common questions for today. So we're going to jump into what's the dirt. So this is a segment where we either tell like funny stories from the industry, people write in funny stories, or just also giving like the inside scoop on what's going on, in our industry from our side of things. So I'll start with a couple stories that people wrote in, and then you can share one of your stories if you want. Or if you have like the inside scoop on something, you can.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So Kim from Coralville said, a few years ago, I bought a little pothos because I wanted to try having a houseplant. I watered it regularly for a while, but then life got busy and I completely forgot about it. It sat on top of my kitchen cabinets where I couldn't even reach it easily. Months went by and I just assumed it was dead. One day I climbed up there to finally throw it away, and somehow it had grown these 3 long vines that were trailing down the cabinet. I had basically ignored it for months and it was thriving. Now it's the healthiest plant in my house, and I tell people my care method is strategic neglect.
Yeah. Yeah, I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah.
Just when you think like they'll be done for, I mean, there's still life in there and they want to live, they want to thrive, and
They're
they're
like,
not
"Let
going to
me."
give up. Yeah. Yeah, it's always cool to hear that. And, I always love hearing the stories also of like, plants that were passed down for like
Yeah.
like 100 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And, oh, it's so fun. They'll bring in like just like a little cutting of it. Like, this is from a plant from
My grandma or
yeah,
somebody,
I
or
love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
that's
always
so
cool
cool.
to hear.
And Katie can't keep a ZZ plant alive.
I can. I was just busy.
She was too. Hers lived.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So Becca from Marion said, I never planned to be a plant person. I bought one snake plant because someone told me it was impossible to kill. Then a few months later, I saw a pothos that I liked. Then someone gifted me a spider plant. At some point, I realized I was rearranging furniture to make sure plants had better lighting. The real moment of realization was when my friends came over and said, wow, you have a lot of plants. And I counted and realized there were 27. I honestly don't remember when that happened.
Nice.
Does that feel
nice.
like you?
I can relate for sure.
And you're just like, wait, I have 200 now.
oh yeah.
Well, if you don't count them, you don't know.
Oh, that was my whole life for a while there. It was like every weekend I was going to all the different garden centers, scoping out all the new drops of houseplants and going to, thrift stores or Goodwill. And that's another thing too about houseplants is you got to pick out some nice pots with it too. So it's kind of like two
Yeah.
different hobbies in one.
Yeah.
So finding the right pots and then finding the right location in your house and actually decorating with them. It's quite a process for sure, but it's so worth it.
Do you guys have any funny stories?
Well, I was going to say one, I'm not going to say the employee's name, but it was a new employee.
It always starts good with that.
I was showing them
tea.
around and we went into the greenhouse and they were touching like the leaves of some of the plants. And then we got over the cactuses and they didn't think that it was
Sharp
because
No.
there is one of those in there that looks fuzzy.
Oh, the old man one.
Yeah. And they just,
dangerous.
and the look on their face when they realized that it wasn't soft and fuzzy was pretty funny.
Okay, I actually have a story about that. Not that one specifically, but I'm glad you said the cactus thing because so my aunt Ida, we used to go to her house to camp and it was just like everybody came and brought campers and everything because she had like more land and everything. And so when we were younger, we would always go and camp there and we would always play like hide and seek and stuff. And we were playing hide and seek in the dark one night, like outside. And I was running and I like jumped up on the porch step and then I was trying to like jump off of it. Like I was just taking the porch as like really not a shortcut. Someone was probably just in my way. So I jumped up on the porch.
You're trying to be an athlete.
Yeah, I was trying to be an athlete. I'm running track star. And there was a cactus, like probably the length of like my forearm to my hand, like on the other side. And so when I jumped, like my leg pulled it, like I landed on it essentially. And I was bawling, obviously. And then I had to sit like under the willow tree, I remember, with my mom, and I was holding the somebody else was holding the flashlight. I was too busy crying, and my mom had to like pull out like all of these needles out of my leg.
Wow.
That'll teach you to run.
I know.
Yep.
That's what you
Haven't
get.
done it since.
you get new hips from running and cactus needles. But running's just not good for me.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's dangerous out there.
It is dangerous out there.
There's also, I mean, we haven't really touched on it, and if you fail at all houseplants, we do have fake ones.
Yes, we do have everlasting blooming plants, we say.
Because who was that? I can't remember who it was. They thought this plant was real for like 2 or 3 years, and they kept watering it.
Oh no,
yeah, I've heard that.
I do not know.
I can't. Maybe it was a customer that was telling me that they thought
Yeah.
this plant they had for like 2 or 3 years was real, and they kept watering it, and then they pulled it out, and it was
probably.
Oh, this was fake. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shit. They are getting more and more realistic too over the years, so I can see that, and nothing wrong with having the fake too.
We've been talking a lot about houseplants today, but you're also on our growing team. And so Dee is like very much in charge of a lot of like the growing in the growing houses, planting every little thing. I know we talked with Bob and Sharon last week a lot about the growing process, so we don't need to fully dive into that, but just give us kind of the inside scoop on what's going on in the growing houses right now. What's starting to come down? Are plants starting to come down this week? What can we kind of expect for spring? It's about mid-March now. People are getting anxious.
Yep.
So
exciting stuff. I mean, this little teasing of nice warm weather. Yeah, it's just about time to get some of these plants down. And we are going to have Tons of pansies. We have them in these nice 10-inch pots. They're just super easy to grab and go. Nice, cheerful, bright pop of color, easy to throw on your porch. So we'll have plenty of those. And we'll have some wheatgrass bowls, mixed green bowls. We'll have probably a little bit of our cold crops already. So your kind of lettuces, your spinach, your kale and whatnot.
Please tell me the
Broccoli.
ranunculus are almost ready.
The ranunculus. How did I forget ranunculus?
I am
they're
obsessed
so
with
pretty.
ranunculus. They're so pretty.
Yes. There'll be plenty of those. We'll also have them in the pan size too. Super easy to grab. Yeah, those are such cute flowers, and they're great for cut flowers as well. So you could throw a little vase of them on your table. Let's see. We'll also have some nemesia. Probably some dianthus will be coming down. Oh, we'll have some hydrangeas. Those are always really popular.
And
Ooh, yes.
So these are hydrangeas that are hardy here, or they're not hardy here?
No, so these are actually annual ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Annuals will be in
Yes,
March.
the annuals.
Right.
Sorry. We grow annuals in the greenhouse too. Annual hydrangeas. So there's different types of hydrangeas. We have the hardy ones in the spring, but this time of year, that's why I was saying Easter's early this year, because they're a really great one. They're in like a 6-inch pot.
Yep.
Yeah. And so they're great to just get for like either if you're going somewhere for Easter to bring them as like a hostess gift, or if you're hosting Easter and you need to like get some color. They're literally like big, beautiful hydrangea blooms
they look really
in a
nice.
6-inch pot that you can just put inside for Easter, and they're great. So
yes, they are pretty. And I've actually heard of people keeping them too as houseplants.
Really? So they'll last all year and everything?
Yeah, maybe not, constant blooming or anything like that,
Yeah.
but you can definitely get away with it. Yeah, and we'll have all different colors of them. We'll even have some blue ones, kind of purpley too.
Okay.
So yeah, those are really fun.
So that's a lot of stuff that's coming down this week. What about the behind the scenes? What's going on in the growing houses? What are you guys kind of working on?
Oh yeah, we are just plugging along. We have started filling up those hoop houses. So we've got all our Calibracoa baskets put out. And now we're just plugging along on petunias. We have like hundreds of varieties of petunias.
That's crazy.
We are just filling up that hoop with petunias. And yeah, we'll knock out some more super bells. We've started on some herbs. Yeah, we have a lot going on right now, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's been a long time coming getting you on the podcast, but we're planning better this time. So,
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions at all, Dee obviously works here full time. So feel free to like comment, send your messages in.
Get an autograph from
Come get an autograph from her.
So famous.
Yeah, she's here pretty much like 7 days a week in the spring. I feel like you're here a lot.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, she's around. If you have any houseplant questions, she's your girl.
With me. I love talking about the plants for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the dirt.